Experts on the red alert for mega earthquake off of the U.S. coast after analyzing a hole in the fault line. This is what I was talking about in my Marfoogle News short, and I hope people did share that out with anybody on the West Coast. It's not so much as like, you know, obviously people get afraid around this kind of stuff, but if you live on the West Coast, this is something that you absolutely should already know. And this will affect more than the folks on the West Coast. It will affect 21 states at least. That's how we know. The reason why we know that is because 21 states are preparing to help with California, with Washington, and with Oregon when this thing happens. It's going to be the worst disaster that the world has seen. I am not exaggerating on that. If you remember the videos and the scenes from Japan in 2011, the situation with that, or even 2004, the Boxing Day tsunami, it will be worse than that because we built a civilization not knowing that there was this subduction zone right off of the coast. This goes back to 1700, the last time it happened. Native Americans have legends about this, carrying whales 20 or 30 miles inland. They thought that eagles had lifted the whales out of the water and brought them inland. Of course, Japan has accurate details of how this actually went all the way to Japan after it hit us here on the West Coast in the year 1700. So there's legends there as well and detailed documentation of it. Also, if you look at the actual dirt and the soil in the West Coast, you can see where it essentially wiped out everything. That is going to happen again. It's happened every about 240 years on average, and it's actually overdue. So it's been, I want to say, 320 years or 340 years, something like that. It's about 70 to 80 years overdue. So this thing is really kind of alarming when they say that this leak ended up kind of bringing out the lubricant, or at least that's what they think. It said that scientists fear a hole in a 600-mile-long fault line in the Pacific could trigger a catastrophic earthquake that would decimate cities along with the northwestern U.S. The hole spewing hot liquid sits 50 miles off of the shoreline of Oregon and sits in the boundary of the dipping fault known as the Cascadia Subduction Zone, which spans from northern California into Canada. To give you an idea, it's huge. I mean, we're talking about from California to Canada. This geological feature is capable of unleashing a magnitude 9.0 earthquake in the Pacific Northwest, and the hole could be the fuel it needs. The leak was first observed in 2015, but a new analysis led by the University of Washington suggests that the chemically distinct liquid is fault lubrication. This liquid allows plates to move smoothly, but without it, stress can build to create a damaging quake. Now, when you add this into the solar activity that's going on, and again, there's whole different camps, debating whether solar events help with this. In my mind, it's pretty much settled that these solar events end up triggering things here on Earth. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but the space weather, essentially, we are peaking at the maximum, maximum solar. The solar maximum a lot earlier than we were supposed to. So some pretty alarming things are popping up out of nowhere. And at the same time, essentially the entire world is falling apart with all of these countries picking sides in a world war that hasn't happened yet. So we'll cover this and much, much more on tonight's episode of Marfoogle TV. All the current events you need and sources to back it up. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. So just to continue real quick and to go back to this, the hole that has opened up, obviously it by itself is nothing, but when you see, well, it's a big deal by itself, but when you look at this and all of the other weird events that have been going off on the West Coast, it's pretty odd. We have just been gone through one after another event on the West Coast, including all of the crazy weather that California has had. This is something that obviously, if you are on the West Coast, you should be alerted to this. You should know about this stuff. Many people will not think about it until it actually starts shaking. This is something that you will have no warning about, or maybe if the system works as it's supposed to, the shake alert will give you 5 seconds, but that 5 seconds has to then get you into a spot where you'll be safe from a 5-minute earthquake. So it's pretty extreme. Again, we'll go over this, and if you want to make comments about this, please do in the chat. We'll go over it some more. But if you are new here, I want to remind you, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com and make sure to go check out all of our sources. We have a full bibliography, so if we show you here a picture, a document, any sort of tweet, it's all going to be linked, and a full bibliography of all of our sources will be available right here. Just go and look for today's thumbnail, and then, of course, you will see we have every single article, tweet, video, picture, document here. On top of that, at the very bottom, we'll talk about this at the very end, the overflow. This is all the stuff that we could not get to or could not fit into the show. There's a ton down there, so make sure to go check that out as well. Also, we'll be linking Mark Pyers. Mark Pyers was doing a premiere. He's doing an 89-minute video. Please go and check it out. He is a longtime Foogle fan and a creator that has put effort in every single day. He's been streaming straight for 1,536 days. So every single day, if anyone grinds, I don't think there is somebody who grinds harder than he does. He deserves every bit of success that he gets. He's very talented, so make sure to go check him out. We'll make sure to link his movie, self-made one-man movie. So, and then make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/friends to find all the mods. Ilea, thank you for letting me know. I did not know about Tommy until just before the show. I did not see your super during the news. But apparently Tommy from the lifeboat got robbed at Bang Bang Point today. So please pray for Tommy and go support his channel if you can. That is very, very, very disheartening to hear. And I'm so sorry, Tommy. I did not know. I didn't even see. I came into your stream and I didn't even say anything. So I did not know. I'm sorry. And then let's bring him up, my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So the 6.0 earthquake strikes offshore of Vancouver Island on Thursday morning. This morning, the placement of it is really, really freaky. As far as the earthquake, it struck offshore of British Columbia at 8:54 a.m. local time Thursday morning with an estimated 6.0 magnitude. So there have been there's been a few here and there, and there's actually been a couple that were right on the Cascadia subduction zone. And in general, you almost want to see these kind of smaller earthquakes because it might actually release the pressure. But this on top of the new leak that was just discovered with the new solar maximum actually coming way faster. They say that it might come twice as fast. Like, this is something that people need to pay attention to. Obviously, we are overdue for that. That's just one event. Out of all of the other events that could be going down right now that, kind of like an Occam's razor kind of thing, there is the Cascadia subduction zone, which is overdue. And you compile that onto what we are heading into. 2025 was supposed to be the solar maximum of one of the most unpredictable solar cycles in the world, or at least in recorded history in like 400 years. So this is quite alarming. What do you do about it, though? I would say that people need to have a basic plan, have a go bag ready if you don't know what a go bag is. Try to look up how to make one. You can find all sorts of stuff that are probably already in your house that might already start your go bag. You need to have some sort of bag ready to go because in the case of the earthquake that I had, a smaller one that I felt that was epicentered right underneath me, my family and I were able to get out in less than 10 seconds out of our house. We were ready to grab our bags. We have a little, at the old place we had it a little bit better, but we have a kind of a mudroom kind of bench, and in that mudroom bench, that is where we keep our bags. So people that come over, they can't even tell that we have these, go bags. It doesn't look like we're, crazy preppers or anything. It's just a bench. You lift it up and you take all your bags out. In less than 15 seconds, we were out the door and in the parking lot. So that's something that everybody should have, especially if you're in the West Coast, and you cannot stress that enough. This is going to happen. It's absolutely going to wipe out everything on the West Coast. And people kind of it's kind of like how humans think of death, where we don't want to think about it until the very, very last second. And even if you're 90 in a hospice, people just don't like thinking about it. They think that somehow they are going to be the one that cheats death, right? You always think like, oh, at some point they'll come up with some sort of immortality pill before I die. It's probably not going to happen. We're all going to die at some point. There are ways that you can prepare. The worst way to die, though, is dying in a way that could have been prevented. And that's what, prepper's all about is, prepping is about preventing stupid deaths, Darwin Award deaths. If you can prevent a death, then why not do it? And then, so that earthquake was off of the west of Vancouver Island. It is something that you should be alert to, especially if you are on the West Coast. Even down in California, the experts have even said now, a lot of experts are looking at how earthquakes can trigger other earthquakes, and now they know it's a fact that an earthquake can trigger another earthquake. And in the case of this one, this is going to rip the two plates apart. Imagine the entire United States is going to move 45 feet in one direction. If you are standing in Oregon, if you're, say, in Seaside, Oregon, and you're standing looking at the beach, after this is done, you are going to be 45 feet towards the ocean standing. So you aren't going to move. The ground underneath you is going to move over a school bus away. So that's a trip to think about, but that's the whole West Coast is going to be doing that. The North Atlantic plate is literally going to move. So this is something that is massive. You're going to feel the same 9.0 earthquake in Seattle as you are going to in the tip of California or even in Canada. This is like massive. This is something that humans really can't even grasp their head around. And of course, until the very last second, until it's happening, people are going to deny and not even do a basic plan for it, which I think is absolutely nuts. This next one, this is from Space Weather. Solar Max might arrive early. Solar Maximum is coming maybe this year. New research by a leading group of solar physicists predicts maximum sunspot activity in late 2023 or early 2024, a full year earlier than other forecasts. This is based on our work with the Termination Event, and this Termination Event is something we talked about before. The last time that this Termination Event happened way long ago, they looked at what the cycle was like after that termination event. We had that termination event and we actually covered it when it happened. Now we are into the next cycle. This next cycle, out of all of these cycles, is most likely going to be extremely unpredictable and possibly one of the worst we've ever seen. What that means is that we could get a massive Carrington level event, and that's worst case scenario. It hits Earth and it could be grid down scenario. So on even if it doesn't, we could have all sorts of different kind of effects of this hitting Earth. It says this is based on our work with the Termination Event, explains Scott McIntosh, lead author of a paper describing the prediction published in the January 2023 edition of the Frontiers in Astronomy and Space Sciences. So we'll probably have Wages on in the next couple days to kind of explain all of this. He was the one who first kind of alerted me to this quickening of the solar maximum, coming much quicker. It says the termination event is relatively new concept in solar physics. It is a period of time on the sun as short as the 1 month when magnetic fields from one solar cycle abruptly die. They are, quote, terminated, allowing magnetic fields from the next solar cycle to take over. After a termination event, a new solar cycle skyrockets. McIntosh and colleagues have studied termination events for many solar cycles, and they have discovered that its timing can predict the future. Our latest work pinpoints the termination event between solar cycle 24 and solar cycle 25 at mid-December 2021. This tells us about the size and date of the next solar maximum. According to their paper, Solar Max is coming between late 2023 and 2024 with a peak total monthly sunspot number of 184 plus or minus 63, 95% confidence. This means solar cycle 25 could be twice as strong as older solar cycle 24, which peaked back in 2014. So this is, again, going to be the peak of one that's possibly going to be absolutely nuts. What that also does is it ups the odds of us getting hit with something really, really bad. Dex, go ahead.
I just quickly wanted to say, Wages did actually do a video on this, and he gave us the link. It's actually on his channel, and it's on our show notes page. So if you guys want to go in depth on this, I know he does. So you can check that out in our show notes.
Yeah. So get the link, and we'll talk about that later on at the end of the show. We'll let you know how you can get to that and see that. And of course, Wages is awesome. And we're still going to try to get him on in the next couple days and have him talk about all of the stuff that he's been looking at. And it's really nuts. This could affect all sorts of things. Many people believe it affects the weather directly. Again, let me know your opinion down in the comments down below and tell me what you guys think. And then Heath Spear, thank you. VB Lisa, thank you so much for the super thanks on the last show. I appreciate that. And, of course, over on D-Live, thank you, Yobi. Thank you for the diamond. And then I believe I missed a Ninjagini last night. Mav Angel, until next time, God bless. Thank you, Mav Angel, and I appreciate that. And then Yobi, I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for your support yesterday. And I do believe, I don't know if we got to you yesterday, so thank you. And then Heath Spear, Jalen Mason, thank you again. I appreciate your support. Thank you, and I'm so glad that you stopped by. And, of course, Pam B., Liz Smith, Kenny Crowder, thank you. Says, good evening, Adam, Dex, Mods, and Foogle fam. So happy you're early. Be aware, all love your way. Well, thank you for making it. This is going to be a crazy show. We're going to go into that in just a little bit. And then San Francisco police arrest fellow tech exec for the murder of a Cash App founder, Bob Lee. Whoa. So remember when everybody was talking about how bad San Fran was and everybody was talking about this guy getting Well, apparently they've arrested somebody familiar. Dex, do you want to go over this? This is kind of nuts, actually.
Yeah, so this was interesting because everybody thought this was like some random crime. Now they haven't released the name, but they're saying it's another tech executive. They're saying that he was seen with them in the car, and there was potentially a conflict between the two, and obviously led to him being unalived by him via a knife. So kind of a crazy story. I guess this will continue to develop, but it also is interesting because it sort of, everybody was up in arms saying about how bad crime was there, and they were saying, well, it's not bad here, but it kind of is. But anyway, this is the story that's coming out that's sort of debunking that, saying, this wasn't a random crime. This was something more specific to him.
And imagine it, they say that Lee was poked in the street last week. He was visiting the city from Miami where he lived. Police are yet to confirm an identity for the suspect, but Mission Local Reports says that he was with a fellow tech executive who lives in the Bay Area. It is unclear if the man attended the same tech conference Lee was in town for. Look at this guy. Is this him? Yeah. Was this the stab E or the stab Is this, do we know? It says that's the founder that got taken out. Look at that. And then it says harrowing surveillance footage shows Lee stumbling through the city streets after being stabbed at around 2:30 a.m. He perished in the hospital after suffering at least 2 wounds. Little else is known about his death. So it says that he was invoked as the latest example of escalating crime in Democrat City and led by increased criticism by Mayor London Breed. Well, first of all, even if you subtract this and say that it was like a pre-planned or premeditated thing, there is horrible stuff going on in San Francisco. I know because I have family there, and they don't go out in certain areas. They don't go out at night. I mean, there's that in most all cities, right? But it has been getting nuts in San Francisco. There's other cities too. Seattle's been really, really bad too. There's a ton of these places where it's just getting too bad to go out. Of course, if you're local, it's like that's not going to stop you, right? And then a third of researchers think that AI could cause a nuclear level catastrophe. It says, according to a survey conducted by Stanford University's Institute for Human-Centered AI, 36% of researchers believe that AI could cause a nuclear-level catastrophe. And it says that the survey was conducted as part of the Institute's annual AI Index report, which is essentially the industry's state of the union. While the report does have some high notes, the document notes that the policymaker interest in AI is on the rise. With the tech pushing scientific discovery forward, the 36% figure is a difficult number to ignore. That's, again, 1 in 3, more than 1 in 3. If it makes anyone feel better, a user recently did try to get an autonomous AI system dubbed Chaos GPT to destroy humanity, but it didn't get very far at all. That 36% figure does come with an important caveat. It only refers to the AI decision-making, as in an AI making its choice on its own that ultimately causes a catastrophe, and not human misuse of AI, a growing threat that the report addressed separately later on. According to the AIAAIC database, the number of AI incidents in controversies has increased 26 times since 2012. Reads the report, some notable incidents in 2022 included a deepfake video of UKR President Vladimir Zelensky surrendering in U.S. prisons using call monitoring technologies on their inmates. Well, maybe they're, yeah, I don't know, I haven't seen the other one of the prisons one, but that almost sounds like something they would go, yeah, that's a deepfake. It says this growth is evidence of both greater use of AI technologies and awareness of misuse possibilities. In other words, there are other ways that AI can and is causing harms, if not its proverbial own hand. Despite these concerns, only 41% of natural language processing, or NLP, researchers thought that AI should be regulated, according to the report. You know what's really scary about this is that only 41% of natural language processing researchers, the guys in these fields, think that it should be regulated. That is stupid. Do they have somebody tied to their pocket or something? Everyone should think that this should be regulated. Dex, you know, why wouldn't 100% think this should be regulated? I don't understand that.
I think they should say right off the bat that we're never going to have AI connected to our nuclear weapon systems.
But that would make logical sense, Dex. You can't,
it would, but you just, somebody will come up with a great idea why we shouldn't.
Yeah, you can't have that, Dex. You can't. You're making sense, Dex. And then a state of emergency declared in Fort Lauderdale as heavy rain drenches South Florida. So on the whole other side of the country, there's all sorts of calamity going on. It says an epic deluge with over 25 inches of rain hit the Fort Lauderdale area on Wednesday, forcing a closure of the Fort Lauderdale airport and leaving many parts of the region underwater. Flash flooding inundated the streets of Fort Lauderdale, Florida on April 12th as the situation was deemed life-threatening. More than 2 feet of rain piled up in Fort Lauderdale on Wednesday, prompting a flash flood emergency and turning major roadways into rivers as a slow-moving storm inundated South Florida. A state of emergency was issued on Thursday as many roadways were still inundated and the city's airport remained closed. I've actually been to Fort Lauderdale twice, and it's a unique city. Well, I mean, it's not unique in Florida. Signs as big as houses to tell you what's the street signs, but I do know I know kind of that city, and to see it under 2 feet of water is kind of, I don't know. Both times I was there, it was just so dry and hot. But this is images of Fort Lauderdale. As you can see, it's almost hitting the engine block on some of these. And wow, riding a bike in that's savage. And then this is another image. As you can see, it's in some of the parts here, the cars, it's up to the windshield in the back here. And this Honda is almost completely underwater. And then people using their rowboats, potentially to go to the 5 o'clock service. Good for them. And then this is the airport, which looks like a lake. You can see the planes sitting on top of the water. and they tried to move them. Apparently, they moved most of the planes out of the way of it. I heard that there was damage to at least 3 of the planes and to the landing gear. If you guys have footage of this, by the way, I know that we have viewers in Fort Lauderdale. If you're from Fort Lauderdale and you're currently dealing with this, send us the footage. marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo. You can actually submit your video and we'll play it for the rest of the Foogle fam. And I'm praying for you. I hope that everything works out okay, and that you don't if this doesn't screw you over as far as your house or where you live or even your transportation. Doesn't that kill cars when it does that? Or is it only if the car runs and it goes through the system? Doesn't it?
Yeah, it can mess up a car pretty bad if it gets into the air intake. You don't want the engine to suck up water into the air intake.
Well, and then look at this security guy driving through it. It's kind of dumb, don't you think? It's not like, I know they have those snorkel things. That's exactly what they're for, is so they can do this kind of driving, but no snorkel there. Almost need like flotation devices for the cargo. That's pretty extreme. All right, and then before we move on, speaking of which, if you are in Fort Lauderdale or any other place that's, obviously most places have had storms, just a quick reminder, it's actually a really awesome thing that's happening right now. If you haven't checked out the solar generators at Energy, now would be a good time. The X2, last time there was a stacking sale on the Flex Tactical. Now there's a stacking sale on the X2s and the LTs. The LTs are the smaller ones that you would more charge, cell phones and devices with. But the X2 is an all built-in-one solar generator that can actually meet most people's needs. This is now on a stacking sale, not only with our code, but with their sale, and they are almost out of them. So if you get it now, they will actually be able to ship it. But again, once they are out, as you guys know, there's actually been quite a wait for any kind of lithium solar generator like this. So I did want to let you guys know, if you do want to get one and get one reasonably fast, then you would definitely want to go with the Kodiak X2. Again, it is built like a tank, it's silent, and it can get power from the sun. If you team this up with their solar panels, obviously you can get power out of nothing. You don't have to buy $5 a gallon gas, and you don't have to store flammable liquids, and you also don't have to alert your neighbors that you have a generator. That's what's great about this. You can have it in the house. There's no nasty gases that it produces. You can actually have it inside your home, powering your things, and it's silent, so it will not alert everybody else that you have power. There's all sorts of great accessories that you can get with these too, like low amp stoves, low amp coffee machines, low amp lights. In fact, the lights, basically you could run the lights, their plug-in lights. I think you could probably run it for like a year straight. I mean, it's so crazy. Barely takes any power at all, and it lights an entire house. Make sure to go check that out. That is built in as a UPS seamless backup power supply, and it can be teamed up with another X2. So you can actually double the capacity and double the intake and, of course, the output. So again, UPS seamless backup power, so you can actually have it plugged in. When the power goes out, it will automatically flip over to the X2. I'd highly recommend. They don't do their sales very often, and when they do, they don't usually stack. So this is not only a sale on the X2 and the LTs, but that is stacking with our code. So make sure to use the code Marfoogle, and then also check out, if you want the Flex 1500, which is their modular system. All right, and then how long is that good for, Dex? That's only like a couple days, right?
I don't know the timing on it, but it's probably short because it's until they run out of inventory.
Okay. So, again, make sure to grab those. Anybody that has already got one, you can ask other Foogle family members. They are awesome. I have 2 X2s and I have my Flex 1500, and they have become, they're my backup. It's actually become a super, super, super convenient. If we do lose power, which we've lost it a bunch, we've had a great time. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to go to a family member's house. We just hang out. And then French rioters storm Paris headquarters of luxury goods firm behind Louis Vuitton. Dex, do you want to go over this?
So many of you may recall Bernard Arnault actually dethroned Elon as the richest man in the world. I think they went back and forth a little bit, but that was just recently, and it was coming off of the demic, and for some weird reason, luxury goods were just still being bought, and their stock value went up. His value went up. As you also may recall, we told you, I think it was the end of last week or maybe the beginning of this week, that the French protesters actually went in and took the over the BlackRock offices. Well, now they've gone after Bernard Arnault's offices, or specifically Louis Vuitton. Obviously they're trying to make statements in the actions that they're taking, but they took off and sort of took over that building.
And they essentially grabbed what they could. I don't think too many people feel bad for him. That's crazy to me during the demic that all of these people, maybe it was because people were at home and they didn't spend a lot of money, so they were like, oh, I could get that Louis Vuitton purse or Louis Vuitton wallet. The other day I saw a stupid YouTube short about they sell these $2,000 chopsticks that are in this like fold up really nice case, and they're not even real gold, but they're gold plated chopsticks for like $2,000. I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. This is what people up there spend their money on. That along with $12,000 dresses and suits. It's insane. Just so they can say, oh, look, there's little LVs on it. And then Air National Guardsman Jack Taxiera arrested in U.S. intel leaks. So either they have their patsy or they caught their guy. Dex, you want to go over this? They might have plugged the leak, right?
So apparently they're saying that this is the person behind the rooms on Discord, and I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Somebody else said the X was SH, so Teixeira. Maybe it was Portuguese. I cannot remember what they said, but again, I'm not going to claim to know how to pronounce it correctly. He is a young man who was in the Air National Guard, but he also worked in a company and had clearance, is what they're claiming, to top secret stuff. He was posting a lot of these documents in his Discord channel with people he was hanging out with, and then it got leaked from there to once it got out, then it went everywhere. But apparently this had been going on for a while. They're claiming this had taken place even since last year. The sharing of these documents that he apparently had access to. Pretty young to have that kind of clearance. Not that I guess age doesn't necessarily dictate security clearance. I just thought it was awfully odd. But again, a lot of this is still fuzzy. A lot of it's coming out. Of course, they're gonna try to make put a stamp on this and say we got it and it's done. Leak plugged, but I'm curious what else may be lurking under the covers here.
Yeah, is this guy some sort of patsy? Like this is a huge leak. I mean, we're talking about stuff that is affecting the entire world, and if this guy was the source of it, if he truly is, this is pretty big. And then get ready for real combat. President Xi tells Chinese forces. China's President Xi Jinping has urged his military to strengthen its readiness for real combat following the country's recent display of force around Taiwan. Inspecting his country's Southern Theater Command Navy, he stressed that the need to deepen military training and preparation, state media reported. It says during his visit, Xi said that it was necessary to speed up the transformation and construction of the armed forces and comprehensively raise their level of modernization. This is on top of how fast they are already going. He's telling them that they need to go even faster. This is coming quick. In my opinion, this is going to happen in a flash of an eye, a flash of an eye. This is going to happen in a flash, and people are going to be caught off guard. I know that many of you guys won't be, but I mean, this is coming. And because the general thought of this is people are so inundated with, all this crazy drama going on around the world, people are almost desensitized to this. But the thing is people are going to wait until last second to get ready on this. It says you must strengthen real combat military training, Xi said, according to the official news service of Xinhua, adding that China must be innovative in its concepts and method of combat. So I hate to point it out, but Xi has been meeting with all of these different leaders, including French Macron leader, and now Macron is stepping away and distancing itself from the U.S. Look at South Korea is now demanding answers of why we were spying on them. South Africa joining Russia and Brazil and all of these countries, they are making their own currency type thing. We're talking about something that we have never let fly ever before. And you think that they're going to let it fly this time? Do you think they're going to start letting the China, end up having its own currency and do all this world trade and in oil and everything else? No. Anyone has ever threatened the U.S. hegemony, it's basically been war. And in this case, though, what's scarier is that maybe we don't. Maybe we let this takeover happen. The fact that we could, somehow this is all being orchestrated and it ends up giving China extreme power and they become the number one. There was another piece which I didn't put into the news tonight, but it talked about how they are talking about how Xi is acting and how he's talking to these people. And he said, finally, we will end this reign of being humiliated. They feel like they've been humiliated being number two under their heavenly mandate. They have to be number one. And they feel humiliated that they're underneath the U.S. It's very clear if you look at the big picture what they've done. They have turned the entire world of trade into their country because they did this cheap labor. Basically, every country supported their horrible, horrible country and how they run it. So this is going to hit really fast. So I do plead with everybody, please, guys, try at this point. You should talk to friends and family and let them know this is coming faster than you think. We are now. I mean, it's got to be in this next year and a half. We're in April of 2023. There's no it's going to happen in 2027. That timeline has been moved up. Look at every single timeline. It's moved up. I believe we will see it either this year or early in 2024 at the latest. And I sure hope I'm wrong. I will be glad to do a whole show on how many things I'm wrong about. Unfortunately, the Fugel fam, there's so many people in this Fugel fam with good information, and all of them are saying the same thing, that this is coming way faster than even they anticipated. There's military members that got memos from their bosses saying that basically they had no idea it was going this fast. That China was producing like they are. They are producing aircraft at a rate that they have never seen before. They have already surpassed us in the largest navy in the world. They are hoarding. They don't hoard for no reason. And they are creating islands and forward operating bases at the same time they're about to take Taiwan. Just look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, in fact, we'll talk about him in a second here. Let's see. Yeah, Warren Buffett actually dropped $4 billion out of TSMC because he believes that there's about to be a war. There's people like this that, time and time again, they have been able to talk to the right people and get the inside information so they could do that, so they could make money. Warren Buffett's not one of the richest people in the world because he kept making mistakes. The dude keeps making the right choices because he's in on it. All of these people are. Why? I mean, the fact that we're, saying everything's going to be back to made in America. Why do you think he said that? Why do you think our president said that? Because we're going to be at war with China. There's so much that people are like, oh, no, they're all high-fiving behind closed doors. They might be. But they're high-fiving behind closed doors at a Chinese table, and then they're going to go to their ghost city and sit in their Chinese mansion. Meanwhile, we're going to be destroyed over here if people don't wise up fast. What do you guys think? Give me your opinion down below. He's saying, get ready for real combat. Get ready for the real thing right now. This is on top of all of the other comments. And it's not like he doesn't bluff all day. He says this for real. And a lot of these comments that have come out, it's like they don't push this out in their own newspapers. This one may have been through this did put a separate piece out on Global Times and then the Shenwen Daily about a week ago talking about how he is saying this is going to happen. They are not going to give up. They're not going to just hand over Taiwan. So it looks like we are going to have to go with the worst option. And all of these surroundings and all of this stuff, whether you think that the black hats at the very top are doing something messed up with it, you're probably right. But it's definitely going to get really bad really quick. And then North Korea launches a new type of ICBM, triggering evacuations in Japan. Because most of you are not in Japan, this really, like, people just kind of poo-poo this thing at this point. But if you're in Japan, in Hokkaido, and they tell you to get into a shelter because there's a nuke coming, this is a huge deal. North Korea keeps doing this. It's one day, it's going to stop being a drill. And all of these different countries are doing the same thing. They keep saying all of this stuff, and I hope that in a year from now, it all calms down and it was just more of their, cannon fodder rhetoric. But it's not. It doesn't look like it this time because they are now teamed up with everyone. They're teamed up with China, Iran, Russia, Brazil, South Africa. I mean, like, this is creepy. Dex, do you want to comment on this?
Well, launching a missile at the country of Japan, even though it comes down in the water before it gets there, is not a sound and wise decision. And if he continues to do it over and over again, it's going to create this scenario where either Japan has to react every time, or if they fail to, then they're going to have to wait to find out if it's real or not, and then it's going to be too late. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's what we're seeing, these tactics, both Xi doing this to Taiwan, over and over and over, so that they always think it's going to be a drill. And then when it's really real, they won't realize it. And in this case, the same scenario could be happening. And by the way, this is not building any amount of credibility or doing anything other than really pissing off Japan. Because if they're having to go seek shelter because he's launching missiles, that's not a good thing at all.
No, and eventually it's going to come true. Zen1AZ, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super sticker. And again, Kenny Crowder, Heath Spear, and Pam B. Let's see here. Oh, thank you guys. Dex, do you want to cover the next one? So let's see here. U.S. displays firepower in combat drills with the Philippines.
So that large drill we were talking about that we said was upcoming, it's actually started. It's underway. So they are doing these huge drills with the Philippines, and that this is one of the many things that came out of the expansion of our alliance with the Philippines. So one of them being this large drill that got started. So there's plenty of activity happening, plenty of chest beating towards Xi, because this is all right up against the South China Sea. It's to the east of it, and it's exactly to the south of Taiwan. So a key strategic place, obviously one in which we've expanded now our bases this year tremendously with them, expanded our the amount of military we're putting in there, and now we've got this large drill that's going on that's never been this size before.
No, and the larger that these drills get, I mean, the more obvious it is that they're getting ready for something. I guess in my mind, I'm always in an inner debate with, why is everything not real to everybody? It's like, I guess I hear these everybody saying it's just a distraction. I don't think it is anymore. It's like the Boy Who Cried Wolf, and it's finally, the wolf is finally here. So again, they are doing huge drills. Obviously something is getting ready to go down. And then Lula backs BRICS currency to replace dollar in foreign trade. Hopefully everybody realizes how big of a deal this is. Brazil's Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva called on BRICS nations to come up with an alternative to replace the dollar in foreign trade, supporting China's crusade against the U.S. global dominance, just as he prepares to meet with President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Do you guys really think that they can go up against the US dollar and something's not about to snap? Either it's not about to snap, or we just end up with a Chinese yuan as the main currency of the world. How could it not fight against that? Many people believe that half of our government is already, has somebody attached to their pocket, and that it might actually go that way, where the U.S. is now number 2. Imagine that happening. It's not a crazy thought right now because of what is going on with this stuff. They are actually coming up with their own currencies and with this whole system. This is bad. This is as bad as it gets. And watch, a lot of the stuff that's anti-Xi, a lot of it's going to be censored here soon if something doesn't happen, something doesn't change. And then the new leaked documents show that broad infighting among Russian officials. So, funny enough, the very last ones came out and they said the depth of the infighting inside the Russian government appears broader and deeper than previously understood, judging from a newly discovered cache of classified intelligence document that's been leaked online. Dex, it almost makes you wonder, was this then leaked on purpose to try to, are we going to now see leaked documents that then kind of counteract all of the other leaked documents?
I don't know if it's counteracting as much as this is sort of going hand in hand with what the media had been reporting. We've always talked about these stories about the infighting inside of Russia over there, specifically with the leadership and those around him. But for these things to come out, the second trove of them came out, and there was a lot of specific finger pointing in there about the conflict, the internal conflict, things like FSB, obfuscating numbers and, loss numbers in the conflict, and all sorts of other, things that are pointing directly at, the consternation that's happening amongst the leadership. The fact that everybody says, Vlad is all on his own here and nobody wants to support him. At least that was the high level narrative, but it's kind of obvious that's not true. But there is probably some truth to that, because there's probably some people that feel that way. And that's what these documents are tending to poke at. And if the fact that they're classified documents gives that any more level of credibility, I don't think so, but others may.
No, and here's what I think. This was put out afterwards, right? All of the rest of the leaks do not look good for the USA. So whoever was leaking them, whether it be this guy that they just found, whoever was leaking these documents was doing it, and it was almost all of them hurt the USA, and it hurt UKR, it hurt the Western nations. All of the leaks were not good leaks. They hurt our relationships with everybody, whatever else. Then all of a sudden 27 pages come out that essentially backs up the media's narrative that Russia's infighting. Where was the motive for the same person that did all of these things to hurt Western nations? Why would they then leak 27 pages that backs up the Western nations, sentiment that they are fudging the numbers and all of this? What do you guys think? Let's go to the chat. Do you think that these documents, these newly released documents, are by the same people that did those last ones? Do you think that these were done on purpose? Press number 1. Or number 2, do you think that these are part of the same leaks that happened? Number 2 would be these are the same person leaked these. Number 1, these were done on purpose by somebody else. 1 on purpose. We shouldn't be in UKR selling crack into Russia. Preston Martin, thank you. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. Huru TV, Naturally Creative, Dutka, Rebecca Snavely, Dolores, hey, Sunny Days, Liz Smith, Bones is in the house. What's going on, Bones? Awesome mod. Go check him out on marfooglenews.com/friends. AJ, everybody is saying 1. It's a setup. He's a fall guy, says Red Bill. Alicia May, seems like a psyop. Everything is now. But again, I actually agree with you on that. But do you know what I'm saying? Everybody says everything is a distraction. So then people are afraid of believing anything. And then you can't even make your own educated guesses on what's really happening. CB says Biden is so cool. Then does a raccoon, a dog, a pizza, and a child emoji. I think I get what you're saying. Him and the... I'm not going to make a Dalai Lama joke, but I kind of did. First time here for live. Thank you for all that you do. Mia, hey, nice to see you. Mia V1AZ, the Great Depression 2.0. Meg DeParis, I think it's going to be worse than the Depression. Sonic Boom, there was 27 new pages that were put out that has... that basically, if you took two books and one was wrote completely differently, like the narrative of the book was completely different, but there was no cover on the book, you'd go, okay, this has got to be a separate book, or it was, from something totally different. These basically make Russia look bad. Why were they leaked? What was the motive behind it? Well, these leaks ended up backing up the fact that they were fudging numbers with how many perished, which would then contradict the previous ones, which they said were altered to make it look like Russia hadn't lost any soldiers, but UKR people are, perishing at a really fast rate. That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look good, because obviously America and all of these other NATO countries are putting their tax dollars into supporting the conflict, and they're telling us, oh, they're winning. The will of the people is going to beat the high-tech gear that the other guys have. It's just straight up will. They're all Popeyes and they're all Supermen. Because nobody wants to support a losing side in a war, especially with billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Doug Finn, what's happening? Tom Sawyer, Badgerworthy, The Great Infection. Hopefully that's not coming next. That might be a doctor's visit. Let's see here. And then Russia says China agreed to secretly provide weapons, leaked documents show. Right before we do that, I do want to remind you, make sure to go over to EMP Shield. If you do want to protect your trucks, your cars, your boats, your motorcycles from an EMP, it's one of the most likely scenarios out of all of the crazy things we talk about. This is a way that you can actually protect yourself so you can get home to bug in or to be able to get out to bug out. This can protect against all three phases of an EMP, and it can protect you against a Carrington level event. If we have a CME, a coronal mass ejection, that could also do the same kind of effect. This wires in and it grounds the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your device, car, truck, ATV, whatever you put it on. They also make one specifically for the Flex 1500 solar generator, so if you already have one of those, this is a really great partner to that. It goes to the input and the output, and it will protect your solar generator. You get $50 off per device, and you help our channel. We're independent. We, again, are on our own. We don't have a multi-channel network. Nobody's here to protect us if we get knocked off. It's all Foogle fam funded, so thank you guys. We appreciate it. marfooglenews.com/EMP. Thank you for going through that. And again, that's EMP Shield that has now worked with agencies like DHS, DOD, and the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. marfooglenews.com/EMP. And then Russia says that China agreed to secretly provide weapons, leaked documents show. Dex, do you want to go over what they said here?
Well, many of you may recall we talked quite a bit probably 2 weeks ago about how the U.S., particularly the administration, as well as intelligence groups, were saying we have credible intelligence that says Xi is going to give specific types of weapons to Vlad to use in UKR. And they even said they might release that information at some point to let us see it. They were debating whether or not they wanted to declassify that information. So this is the closest glimpse we're getting to that, because this is potentially one of those classified documents, but it talks specifically in quotes. I think they captured this from an SVR report, which is the equivalent of the three-letter agency over in Vlad's town. But the specific quote in there was that Beijing reportedly approves a covert shipment of lethal aid to Russia. So, and they basically what this came down to is they were agreeing to send it. They were allowing, they were going to make a shipment, but they insisted that it be kept covert and secret. They wanted nobody to know that they were participating in sending this. Now, to date, the U.S. has said they have not actually seen that shipment happen. So it could have been covert enough that nobody caught it, or it just hasn't happened yet. That's the real question. But that's what this document, yet again, another leak, is exposing.
So essentially saying what most people just assumed was going to happen, which they were going to help with lethal weapons, they're no limits partners. And then Kiev calls for NATO to secure the Black Sea, integrate UK air defenses. Dex, wouldn't you say that most of the things that Kiev has asked for, they've gotten? I mean, most everything, right?
Oh, we laugh. They asked for planes when they got tanks, and we're like, yeah, they're not going to get planes, but now they're getting planes. So yeah, here they are asking for NATO to actually come in and secure the Black Sea. Now that's kind of a hard thing to do because that's widely used by a lot of people, including Vlad. He has rights to there. So to think that we would that they would do that and there not be an actual declaration of conflict between the two, between Russia and NATO, then I don't see how that would happen. But who knows? It seems like every time they ask for something, like you said, we say how high.
And one of the quotes here says, sadly, it is also a showcase of how rapidly things can deteriorate if one neglects threats. It's time to turn the Black Sea into what the Baltic Sea has become, a sea of NATO. So you also have to realize that these are also heard by Russia and their allies. And this isn't going to be something that they're going to like. The remarks were also were brushed aside in Moscow, where Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told the briefing the Black Sea can never be a NATO sea. It says this is a shared sea. It must be a sea of cooperation, interaction, and security for all littoral states. And this security is indivisible. So it doesn't sound like they're going to give it up easily if that's even going to be talked about. But if you hear it mentioned like that, it's most likely going to be talked about, and then they're going to try to have it happen. Russia might discuss swap for jailed U.S. reporter, a diplomat for that country says. I guess, and then they'll end up getting like a K-pop star out or something, and we'll give them like Medvedev's brother or something. Russia might be willing to discuss a potential prisoner swap with the U.S. involving a jailed Wall Street Journal reporter, Evan Gershkovich, after his trial on espionage charges, a top Russian diplomat said on Thursday. Gershkovich, which his employer and the U.S. government all deny he was involved in spying and have demanded his release. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rubkov told the state news agency TASS that talks about a possible exchange could take place through a dedicated channel that the Russian and the U.S. security agencies established for such purposes. Hey, Dex, did we ever get that other guy out that was a military guy? Back when the guy that we were talking about with the Brittany Griner thing, is he still in prison there? Do we know?
No, they swapped Griner for somebody that we had in prison that was...
No, I know.
Yeah.
But instead,
I don't think the other guy...
Instead of the guy who probably deserved to get out first.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, so I don't remember his name. I'd look it up.
He's probably going to be really pissed. He's like, are you kidding? The Wall Street guy? Look at me. It says we have a working channel that was used in the past to achieve concrete agreements, and these agreements were fulfilled. So they're still talking about stuff, apparently. They still have a concrete channel. It says, however, he emphasized that Moscow would negotiate a possible prisoner exchange only after a trial. The issue of exchanging anyone could only be considered after a court delivers its verdict. Man, that would not be fun to be in a Russian prison accused of espionage. So unfortunate. So real quick, I would like to go over kind of a broad look at what is happening here. Many people here, by the way. Let's see here. Sean Seekins, what is going on? Twisted Luck Truth, it's never ending. Yeah, Bones, thank you. Says, we at Marfoogle TV don't discriminate on religious beliefs. Please don't argue about religious beliefs in chat. That would be appreciated. This should be a place where people can come after work and have fun. Ilea, thank you. Joseph Newhouse. Essentially, most people here, or if you're watching the replay, I'd love for you to comment down below what you think is actually, what the timeline on this all would be. We have come back and visited this every couple months. Most people were correct about almost all of the things that we kind of surveyed. And it just shows you that most people have a grasp, at least here, on what realistic, kind of numbers are out there on a World War III, or it escalating, or it getting worse. Let me know when you think everything is really going to get bad. It's already really bad, but when is it going to get worse? I think that we all need to, get our stuff together, get our ducks in a row. At this point, it's getting pretty urgent. That's my belief. And again, if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. But again, just remember, this is you watch voluntarily. You don't have to watch this community. You don't have to, you don't have to agree with us either. But at least give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts and beliefs on why it's not going to happen. I would love to hear your reasoning on it. Let's see here. Babab, Brian Knight. Hey, nice to see you. One of my oldest subscribers, Brian Knight, is there. Hope your channel's doing good. Country Girl, Jeffrey Belander, and Badgerworthy. Nice to see you guys. Gunslinger, nice to see you. Shastina, Fort William, Texas. Says you will hear, Fort William, Texas says you will hear wars and rumors of war. See that you are not troubled, for all these things will come to pass, but the end is not yet. I think that we will end up seeing it, though. I think we'll see a lot of it. Stay blessed and aware. And then Sonny Turner. Thank you. Miss Jamie. Appreciate you for being here. Bill Fortenberry. Nice to see all the Foogle fam. In numbers. Thank you, guys. All right. And then thank you, Zen1AZ. Thank you, Kenny Crowder, tonight. I appreciate you guys end up supporting. Sweatinum Ministries. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for supporting Independent. Did a $50 super chat. Thank you. That was not necessary, but is so appreciated. Thank you so much. FG, Chicken Cross Road, to prove to Possum he can do it. FG, nice to see you. Hey, Fall, how are you doing? And then, of course, Heath Spear, Pam B, Liz Smith, Matthew Michael, Jalen Mason, Kay Parker Frazier, Drew O'Connor, Ray the Way, Richard Koschmeider, LOD Will, Neil Nelson, Carol, Stephen McMahon. Thank you for your support this week, along with Nana of Montana and Dawn's Ulcer, Lonnie Grimm, and EOD Vet. Thank you guys for supporting our channel here, and thank you for, of course, being patient with all the changes that we've had to make lately. Tonight, we will be done a little bit earlier tonight because we have some time constraints tonight. So I thank you all for making it. Please share the show out. If you were going to share any show out, this would be it. It has been a shorter show, and one show a week will at least be this short. So going forward, so keep that in mind. If you can only make one show, I hope you make it to the earlier shows that we start doing. Again, thank you for making it. Dex, let's go over the web content and the overflow.
Absolutely. So lots happening still. It's all there on our website. Go to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open up the show notes link that's in the description down below. It's real easy to get to. Lots happening. So we do have updates, the additional updates with the UKR situation, such as UKR standing firm against wanting to take Crimea. We have the continuous messaging about how Putin will be taken out. And there's a couple different angles on that one if you want to read about them. And then also, he also approved, they're saying he actually approved the arrest of the Wall Street Journal reporter. So that's in there as well. And some other updates that are what's going on there. We have a little bit of weather updates in the sense that there's this super El Nino that's happening, but also there's not just Florida. We now have all the snow melt that's going to start these massive flooding from the Southwest to the Rockies. Some of it's already started. So that's kind of crazy. Sinkhole news in there. Elon is in the news as always. Apparently he has a big office building that he was going to turn into a homeless shelter, but they won't let him in San Francisco. Imagine that. And then of course the political angle. All the little political stuff is here. Everything from what's happening in Michigan to what's going on with the top dogs that are running for in 2024, and even somebody coming out from their shadows. JB's Hunter is now made an appearance. That and so much more. It's all right there. It's the rest of the story. Marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show or open up that show notes link. It's right down below in the description. Easy to get to.
Yeah, people actually using ChatGPT to take on multiple full-time jobs. And then probably somebody who wants to go into the office who would work in person probably won't have that job. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for making it. Thank you over on DLive, all of the support over there. Thank you, guys. And I hope that Cab 7 end up winning the Easter donation thing? I hope he got close. We tried to help all week. There was a Easter kind of event for DLive where if you got the most donations during that time period, you would get a prize. We were trying to get Cab 7 to win that. I don't know what it ended up being, but it should be over by now. It's the 13th. Was like the 6th through the 12th. And then make sure to go check out Mark Pyers. He made a movie all by himself, 89 minutes long. I'll just show you real quick. It might even still be on. Unfortunately, we had to overlap here today. But he did this. Let's see.
And that's also linked on our website.
Yes, so you can find it. Jeez, why did it not show up? Let's see. Yeah, here it is. So he did Back to the Future Creative. This was. So he did this all by himself with the green screen, 89 minutes. He put a lot of work into it. So he is a very funny guy. He's a good man in general. He is really got a good heart. He is always positive. He's just a really, really good guy. So people should go support him no matter what. And of course, thank you guys for, it looks like some people already went over and subscribed. So thank you guys for going and supporting him. He obviously put a ton of time into it. So make sure to go check it out. Unfortunately, it overlapped his premiere and our show. So I just wanted to make up for that by sending some people over. So thank you. And then make sure to go check out Tommy at the Lifeboat. Tommy is also over at marfooglenews.com/friends. Tommy just got robbed at gunpoint today. So nobody wants to hear that. Tommy, we're praying for you. I sure hope that you're okay and everything is good. They talk about addiction and sobriety and recovery. So if you have any of those issues, he's really, really good, running a good channel over there. So make sure to go say hi to the community over there. Thank you, Ilea. Thank you, Bones. Thanks for making it to today's show. And it's obviously a short one. As you guys know, I've been working full time right now. So I apologize if there's some time schedule delays and things, but thank you guys for your support and your patience during these times. Obviously everybody is, in fact, everybody is, we just all got to get through it in our own way. So thank you. God bless you. And appreciate everybody that supported tonight. Thank you guys. And you have a wonderful night. It is definitely going to be Sweatin' Ministries. Thank you. You are our top supporter tonight. And let's say goodnight. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And Sweatin' Ministries, thank you. It's now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Everybody that made it, Joe Blow, Jason Smith, Itchy Unda, Magneto, peace out, Laura Griffith, Lighted Vibes, Carol, One on B, Sweatin' the Ministry, Sweatin' the Ministry. Sweating on ministry, on me, sweating on ministry, sweating on. Sweating on ministry, sweating on. Sweating on ministry, sweating on ministry, sweating on ministry. Sweating on ministry, 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 sweating on ministry. I said, bring it on.